and welcome back to an APNG production of From Season 3, Episode 3, Mousetrap, where we have finally returned to the hallowed ground of seasons past on From. We're mixing it up a little bit. I am your fearless host, Jack. With me today is
Michelle.
And
Diana.
Oh, it's a three-way extravaganza here today. We're excited to get into this. I want to thank everybody who's jumped on our little From bandwagon. We're getting some nice engagement, and I love it. And I hope everyone's excited for the three of us to get in on this today. Ladies, any opening thoughts?
Welcome to our Fromville. Aw,
oh, that's right.
We're
We're using more hashtags these days.
Welcome to our Fromville. I
go.
echo that sentiment. And I want to encourage you all to write to us, apngpod@gmail.com. You can find us on Instagram at apngpodcast. We're probably not on Twitter. I probably need to double check that. But yeah, it's all in our link tree, which is in the show notes.
Yes.
And we are dying to hear from you.
And I've been meaning, I didn't say it the first couple of episodes, but we would love for any of our new listeners on the Fromcast here to check out our other stuff. When you take a break from harrowing nighttime journeys and monsters, come hang out with us while we talk about the monsters of reality TV.
Funnily enough, this episode was finally not as dark.
It was a real return to form, and it couldn't have come at a better time. I was really happy to have the camp factor back. Naughty.
Somebody didn't turn off their
Somebody
phone.
didn't turn off their phone.
You know, sometimes we need alarms to remember when to do things.
Like record?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Which
All
is,
right.
see, it was right on time. We're recording.
It's all good then.
But Michelle, yeah, you know, last week was a pretty heavy episode. The opening run of the first two episodes was very heavy. So when we're getting back into the kind of like what made us all kind of really fall in with this show, is it more kind of just the changeover back into the mystery and the stepping away from horrendously depressing real world plots?
Yeah, it just, all of that felt very real. And then much like, what's her fucking name?
Tabitha?
Yes, thank you. I keep wanting to call her Paula for
Mother
no
Tabitha.
reason.
Oh, that's for 90 Day fans. You'll know why she's making that mistake.
Oh, no, I didn't mean to do that. No, that's so unfortunate that she has that name in my head. I don't know if it's come at me, neurodivergent Fromville. Let me know if you can't remember the names of the people in your life or the characters that you watch on TV, but you do remember the wrong names. And it comes off as casual racism. I can't remember, but to be fair, it's indiscriminate. I can't remember what anybody's name is.
No, it's equal opportunity for what you can't remember.
Yeah, that's right.
What about Paula, aka Tabitha?
Yes, you
Michelle?
had a
Yes,
point,
I'm
Michelle.
sorry.
Let's
So,
bring us back.
much like Paula, I was
AKA
reminded that this is all a game.
That was the best of that, because the past couple episodes I could not laugh and make fun of them because they were in mourning. It didn't feel appropriate.
Yeah.
And now this episode I could giggle again. I could make fun of some of the lines that we heard and some of the acting and just like have some fun with the goofy side of it. And Dale's such a dick, and it's so much more fun to be able to make fun of him.
Fucking Dale, who I feel like we haven't seen since what was he doing? Was it season 2 where he was trying to like shoot people in Colony House?
Such a schmuck.
Oh, but he's the one that stabbed.
Oh no, it was stabbing.
Yeah.
He almost killed Ellis.
Yes.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
Was that? Now, forgive me. I have not watched that scene in a while. Do we remember, ladies, what was Ellis doing that he ended up
Oh, they
getting?
were fighting over like how to cut a watermelon radish or something. Like it was that.
I feel like it had to do with Julie, like coming and living with. Remember, Julie wanted to be in Colony House. Did it have something to do with like her taking over an area and Ellis standing up for her or something like that, like as Papa Ellis?
This was whatever that like weird subplot was where Ellis and Fatima were going to like adopt Julie and have her live
I
in
always
there.
felt like they were sexually
grooming
her a
A
little
1,000%.
Yeah.
Because tell me that couple wouldn't have been like, we're in like no man's land. Like, let's,
She might be legal now. I mean, how long? I don't understand the timeline.
What is the legality of age in Fromville?
Yeah,
I think shit went down in Colony House before all the murdering.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you think there was just like massive like orgy parties going on?
Well,
those people are way too comfortable with each other.
Like, like that one girl who like took Julie's shirt or whatever.
I have never been so irrationally angry on someone else's behalf in my life. That really, and Diana probably knows better than me because she's an only child and she's still got that only child.
Mine. You can't have it. That's mine.
No, but I thought that was a really shitty mood. I think I don't like anyone in Colony House. I wouldn't feel comfortable sleeping under the same roof as them. I'll put it that way.
Which is funny because I would want the security and safety, but then you also have to trust more people and
security and safety. I trust if like I would rather be with you two and like a random like Kenny or something like that or Jade, and we're in a house and I can trust that the four of us would have had a discussion of like, hey, you know what's a great idea? Let's definitely not open any fucking windows.
Don't fall in love with the monsters outside. Just don't.
That was so, I mean, I understand that they seem to have a disproportionate number of young single people. So I
that's
get
a really
that
good
you
point.
Kind of, you have the families that live in town, and so I understand the division and the desire for communal living, but I don't feel like there's enough boundaries at Colony House. The fact that it's like, oh, we all share clothes. Well, I don't necessarily want your whatever
sweat.
You're doing in my downstairs kitty cat. You know what I mean? Like,
hey, do you mind if hey, listen, I just had sex with 5 people over there. Can I borrow your underwear?
No.
Who's doing the laundry? Is that a communal task?
Have we ever seen them do laundry?
This was like every party house that I went to in college. It's just, it smells like wet clothes all the time.
Stale beer.
You know what it reminds me of?
Beer. It's like humid in the kitchen for no reason all year long.
It's like a frat house.
The bathrooms never dry.
Right. It's like a frat house where they've been sent off campus, but like the frat house is now just being squatted in by like various people.
Maybe that's how Colony House started way back in the day in the colonial times.
Back in the salad days of University of From.
But yes, it's been nice to get back to our roots of From. I mean, it's getting cold there,
well,
but it's
listen,
still.
Let me just say, so obviously the first 2 episodes were heavy. This is moving back into the kind of fun territory. I mean, I'm always going to be 1,000% here for Harold Perrineau slipping into his New York accent and channeling, which he was in this movie, by the way. I don't know if anyone's seen The Edge with Anthony Hopkins and Alec Baldwin and Harold Perrineau. There's a plane crash. They get stuck in the Alaskan wilderness. Anyway,
he's really got a genre, doesn't he?
Well, there's a line, which I was going to say. So we have Boyd in this basically saying like, I'm going to get one of the motherfuckers, right?
Yeah.
There's a famous line in The Edge where Anthony Hopkins is gonna kill this bear who's been kind of tracking them, and
tormenting them.
Tonight we kill the motherfucker. So it was really like I feel like he was pulling Anthony Hopkins.
Sir Anthony Hopkins.
Anthony Hopkins.
Oh, is he on Queer Eye? Anthony Hopkins,
our British expert.
There's an Anthony on Queer Eye.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
he's not British.
I'm more well versed in the Queer Eye space than you are.
It's, I mean, it's not. Yeah, sorry, that really confused me. So we're going to talk about this episode not sequentially, or there's some sequence to it, but it's not the one that you see on the show. So we're going to talk about the scenes in terms of locality.
Ooh.
Which I really appreciate. I want to give Michelle a little shout out there because I was trying to do this chronologically with Diana last week. Diana did not okay that. But you know what? We're trying different things. And you know
And
what's
you
great?
learned that it doesn't work.
Just like in From, you find out if I do this, there's going to be a weird phone call from someone I didn't think could make a phone call to me. So that's why we accept new ideas and
At least
constructive
your
criticism.
idea didn't lead to anyone being eaten by a monster.
This is true.
Like,
Yes.
could be worse.
Now, let's talk about what's happening
Ooh, when it first starts. Come on.
the Matthews home. So we pick up from last week, and Jim, not Halpert, is talking to BT, baby Thomas.
But still all about the hair. Not Jim Halpert, but still, oh my goodness.
Why didn't you put it on
Is
silent?
Jack's phone still going?
No, it's on silent.
All right, Michelle and I are going to talk about Baby Thomas calling, which also Baby Thomas never would have had a voice or didn't speak. But he did die because Jim and Tabitha were distracted by the phone. So ironic here that the phone call is, how they're contacting.
Is the phone call coming from inside the house? Sort of.
I can't get past the fact that they were just so distracted that there's two people changing a diaper, and I'm sorry, it doesn't make sense.
What was the phone call? Did we ever find out who was calling? What was it about? Did it even matter?
No. Because when Jim is straight up like, "You're not my son, get the fuck out of here," the little creepy boy voice just starts asking him other questions. Why did you let mommy go off and die? Like that kind of stuff. That's that. I feel like at that point the entity is not pretending to be Thomas anymore.
Yeah, and then Jim does what, I don't know, Michelle, probably know more, and Jack, about horror movie tropes and the way they do this. But of course, when he's outside getting the kids back because he's freaking out because, the voice is telling him, you better watch your kids, it's getting late. And he sees Boyd and he doesn't tell Boyd about the phone call. And it's one of those things where if you're in this crazy situation, you're supposed to let people know what's going on so you can pool together, come together. But
that seems to be a running issue in the show, in that people do not. I feel like I get the vibe of I feel like I just had a nervous breakdown experience and I don't want to go fucking tell Boyd that I'm losing my mind.
I think that the characters don't trust themselves and they're worried that the more you let other people in and the more vulnerable you are, the more you are open to being hurt, right? So why would you? I mean, I think that if I was there, it would take me a really long time to trust people, and I would really worry about other people's judgment too.
So that made me kind of wonder where each of you would fit in the From verse, maybe in Colony House or in the town in general. Michelle, I feel like you would probably act like you trusted people and then kind of, pick apart their motivations as you walk away. Diana, I think you'd probably be super helpful and warm and be keeping, also very similarly, keeping a very secure third eye staring at everything going on around you. And I'm not sure what I would be. Feel free.
You would be asleep until 2:30, and then you would get
be the
up.
night watchman.
Yeah.
I'd be I would definitely feel comfortable being the night watchman of oh no, nothing's coming inside. Don't worry about it. It's fine. Everyone go to sleep. It's fine. I'm never opening anything. It's fine. Don't worry.
Doing the
it.
dishes while we're all asleep.
Yeah, making the coffee.
So I'd be Elgin. This is basically
Elgin, sleeping during the day, having terrible nightmares.
Oh, that sounds like me, Elgin. I feel seen, buddy.
I also want to say, as someone whose progeny is a picky eater, This scene with our pal Ethan, the world's youngest old man, was very triggering for me. I feel like, especially when there's rations and all that shit, like, oh, I'm sorry, you don't like the only food that we have left?
I want chicken fingers.
Yeah. Good luck finding frozen dino chicken nuggets.
Give
in
me
Fromville.
dino bites.
Oh, yeah, sure.
So more disturbing than Ethan being like super casual about death and just like wondering like, okay, I guess
It's the
mom's
food.
body is laying out and like Jim can't handle that. More disturbing than that to you, Michelle, was him not wanting to eat the food.
Yes.
Fair.
So
I get hung up on these minor details,
Fair.
but also it's really interesting because around 8 years old, I think, is the age of reason, and kids might even have it earlier. But as someone who was a nanny for many years, it was always my favorite age because the kids would start asking me questions like, what happens after you die? And I would always say, well, I believe this, other people believe this, nobody really knows, right? And you get questions like, can we Google how to get to heaven? Are my eyes going to open after I die? Like all these, but it's so
innocent,
pure and beautiful. And it's really interesting that he's so like jaded already about death and loss, and he's already able to compartmentalize and kind of intellectualize it and depersonalize it and be like, oh, what about her
well, yeah, that's okay.
body getting eaten by
yeah,
worms?
that
stuff
exact
like that.
part, though, I was curious how that hit you both, where he's not talking about like, oh, geez, like, I mean, mom might not come back. It's like literally down to like, you think mom's bones are just sort of like bleached and rotting and being pecked apart? Like, is that him trying to just come to terms with whatever the reality may be?
Well, that is his reality. Like he's a child, so everything is a lot longer of an experience for him. It's a bigger moment and a bigger impact on his life. And this is his reality. And even when he's in the diner talking with Boyd, when Boyd is talking to the bus driver,
Bacta.
Okay, the bus driver, Bacta, and Boyd is like bringing that hope again, right? He's like, no matter what, we're going to find our way home. And Ethan's like, well, you just actually hope that. You don't really know that. Like Michelle said, he's hitting that stage of being like, adults don't know everything. And like, they can say things even when they don't mean it. And so that's why he's like, you just hope there's a way home. You don't actually know that. And
Yeah.
I can see in front of me.
That's a really good point. And also remember, children love a binary. They love certainty. And old people do too, as it turns out.
We all do.
Does anyone not want certainty?
It just hit me though that all of these people are raw dogging life. Like there's no let's all gather around the TV and relax. There aren't even any books anywhere from the looks of things. Like
but there are tarot cards.
This is raw dogging life is something I actually recently heard about. Raw dogging flying on a plane. Are you familiar with this? Okay, so when they
you don't do screens or
at all. But what I heard was really interesting. So I get the idea. I could never do this, but I get the idea of not watching anything and just kind of like trying to meditate or something. Apparently, this has gone into a TikTok trend for younger people where they're taking it to the extreme and they think it means you're not supposed to drink water or go to the bathroom the entire flight.
Healthy.
Okay, that generation is going to die out so quick.
They have no antibodies for anything.
Nope.
And they have no grit or ability to deal with difficult situations.
Nope.
See, so what I'm putting together now is maybe Ethan's in a better place than he would be if he was in the...
Well, yeah, maybe.
Come on.
Anything...
Can we be a little facetious
What
here?
else is happening in town, Jack?
Yeah, let's talk about...
No, I mean, with town, no, because we're all kind of split up at this point.
Well, so meanwhile, Victor goes back to his tree measuring experience, and we find out that he's looking for his suitcase. He digs it up, brings it to Sarah's house, and wants to build a fort.
And to tell her a story, he doesn't really explain what kind of fort. It sounds like a children's fort for scary stories to tell in the dark.
I loved that book.
Oh, so good.
It's how I learned about the Wendigo, and it has stayed with me forever.
Not the
I just got
Cromonocle.
goosebumps thinking
Oh, you-
about the Wendigo.
Oh, you see, you've read the Wendigo story too.
What do you think is in this suitcase is what I want to know. Because it's clear he's going to tell a story about something having to do with the suitcase. We know we've seen a lot of pictures from Tabitha, seeing all these paintings. Like, does it have some
feel
kind of
like
connection with his mom?
I feel like Victor only has drawings, crayon drawings, and like old items from his family.
Didn't he get the suitcase from the trunk of the car, or am I making that up?
Did we see where he got it from, or did he just leave and return with the suitcase?
I know that he's got Polaroids and he's
Yes.
got drawings. So
Yes.
I'm assuming that there's Polaroids and drawings in that suitcase.
Suitcase looked heavy and stuffed, so I'm really curious what's inside.
Yeah, I guess I just assumed that he dug it up because he was digging by the tree. But the other episode or two ago, you're right, he was going to where the cars were. So we don't actually know if he dug that up or if the timing worked out that way. So I'm curious to see, I want to know what's in that suitcase.
I also think, I know a lot of the fans are like, oh, he's like withholding information. I don't think that's what's happening at all. I think that and anxiety warriors will understand this.
Yes, we will.
There's a point where you start to feel like, okay, this action is going to lead to this result, right?
Yes.
And you end up having a distorted sense of your own power. And this bleeds over into OCD and things like that. But I would literally, at one point, I would think, if I don't pick the right sandwich, like, there's going to be a plane crash. Like, planes will just start falling out of the sky.
Yeah,
Right.
that's like an OCD.
Yeah. And I think that let's not forget that Victor was never properly socialized. He was traumatized at a very early age. He didn't know who he could trust. He didn't have other kids
Raised himself
around him. He raised
essentially.
himself, and he's not used to having to telegraph his thoughts and feelings to other people.
I wanted to go off of that point. It's interesting because I have seen people kind of questioning, like, oh, Victor's creepy again. What's Victor doing? Victor hasn't changed. Victor is a little bit younger mentally than he is age-wise, and I'm not seeing any difference in Victor. The only difference I'm seeing is he's more afraid. He's doing his calculations. The trees are moving. People are disappearing. People are getting killed. This is a very understandable reaction from Victor.
He does tend to gravitate towards the people who are the least judgmental. Like,
Yes.
Sarah can't judge him because she
and children.
Yeah.
This
Well,
is true.
that's what I was going to say is I think I think Victor has changed in the sense that he started to open up and let his guard down a little when Ethan came and started to open up more because of that relationship and
But
that
do you
friendship.
think the difficult things that have happened to the Matthews family are taking a toll on Victor's ability to interact in that way?
I think when we came in with the Matthews family, right? That's how we entered Fromville. That's when we saw that Victor was this weird guy and, this recluse. Nobody knew it really, he just went to Colony House and he was able to befriend Ethan, and that opened him up. And now the town is going into like an utter chaos spin. It's going into winter, like everything bad is starting to happen again. And so he's going to start shutting down again, I think, because it's not safe anymore to be open and comfortable.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. And wrapping up the town segment for right now is we are going to come across Randall, the bus denizen. And go ahead.
I couldn't help but notice.
Yeah. Ooh.
That he was carving.
Got the beautiful mind on this one.
Please don't fetishize my neurodiversity.
Hey, I'm just
No, we love it and
quoting
we appreciate
Diana
you.
from last week. Clearly, someone didn't listen to last week's episode.
I did. I listened to the whole thing. Now,
Go ahead.
he's carving a little some people said it was a skull, but I thought it looked an awful lot like the little scarecrow
Oh, the little the
votive guys.
the pre-talisman statues.
Yeah.
By the creepy cabins.
Yeah, whatever you want to call it. It looked like he was carving one of those
Randall.
to me.
Could that be why the cicadas came back for him? I don't, because we're not clear as to.
Did they come back though? Because that was like what, about 5 seconds, and then Boyd comes onto the bus and it's
I think
disturbed.
the explanation is a little more simple there.
Hmm.
How many times do you think? I mean, Randall has commandeered that bus. How many times do you think he's cleaned the turlet?
Oh,
The
you
bugs
think
are coming.
you think there are just some actual bugs that are not like creepy
Ew.
dream cicadas?
Yeah, that bus fucking stinks. That man doesn't shower.
Oh my God, you're right. And he's like, he probably never
He's just
empties.
filling that toilet
He's
up.
never emptying it
Well,
either.
we should ask
where
Boyd.
would you empty it?
You don't think would you put it beyond Randall to be like, well, fuck, I mean, it's full. I'm just going to open this fucking thing right here where the bus is. Now the
Ew.
town's covered in icy piss.
On that
That'll get the
disgusting
monsters.
vomit-filled. No, well, Boyd decides he wants to stay on the bus so that he can watch these things. Right?
Yeah, but
he's
Boyd
been
has
talked.
a reason.
Yeah, well, he's been talked out of going to try and catch one,
But now,
thanks to Donna and
but
Ellis.
now Michelle's made me picture Boyd walking on the bus being like, all right, I'm going to stake this out. And then suddenly he's like, no, get the fuck this. Smells like shit.
Never mind,
I
I'm
gotta get outta
out.
here.
I can't handle this. Monster's fine, but
He's
this
like-
smell, no way.
He's like, I don't know how, but it smells like Monster Energy drink and Funyuns.
That's Randall's. Is that Randall's pH?
Yes.
Please let us know what you think that bus
Yeah,
smells
tell us what
like.
you think
We
that-
want to know.
Oh, a little shout out. I forgot who this was, but I've noticed that on some YouTube coverage, they derisively refer to Randall as Randy. I
Randy.
find that real fun.
Stinky Randy.
So moving along to foraging for fresh crops near, what do we call this? The Trapper Village, the Civil War Village. What do we want to call this?
Creepy village.
The creepy village.
Yeah, super creepy. Well, we've got Kenny and Christy, and then all the people who drew the short straws, Jade and Dale and random
I'm gonna,
folks we've never met before.
Before we dive into this, I just have to say, Dale, you're right. Jade is smarter than you.
Yeah.
He's more accomplished than you. He's more important and integral to survival than you are. And I'm going to say, because we have a note here that Donna being the one to, hey, draw short straws. It's kind of fishy, real fucking fishy that Jade ends up foraging for food.
Yeah.
That's nonsense.
You know what? Dale is such a boomer.
Fuck you, boomer.
He is.
You're
He's
so
like,
right.
He's like annoyed by intelligence. Facts are very distressing to him. He just goes around stabbing people and thinks that that's fine.
You're right, because he's sort of like, Jade, what do you think? Like, you're like more important because you built the radio thing and you're figuring out theories and symbols, like you're having visions. What makes you think you're more important?
Yeah, he's like, I'm in charge of the Facebook group.
I'm the mod, dog.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he really is such a dick. Well, so this is where we see these statues again, these like as you said, pre-talisman statues, pinhead looking,
There's been a little talk about the one that looks like Pinhead from Hellraiser with the nails all over its
Yeah.
head. Is a callback to the girl who got the nail in her head while they
No, I'm not buying it.
that's
No,
garbage,
but-
because why would it be a head full of nails? It doesn't make any sense.
I don't think that, but I do think what Jade sees in a few minutes from there, right? When he's goes, Dale and them are talking shit about him and he's like, I'm going to go take a piss. And then stands there and he sees the like colonial guy. We don't
Look,
really know.
I want to hear back from the audience here. I think the guy looks like a French Canadian trapper. You both felt what, Civil War era? Is that-
No,
Oh, no, you
that's
went
what other
earlier.
people have said.
You
No,
went
earlier,
earlier,
like
correct?
1600s.
Yeah, definitely.
Thinking, like,
He's wearing pantaloons.
like Pilgrim style.
And
Mayflower
Branches.
era.
Yeah, something like that. But
no,
so
before that, like early 1600s, when the first like European
1619
colonists came over. Yeah.
like a
Yeah.
rough, exactly. That's what I think too.
Post
But
1492.
he has
Yes.
the connection to the girl with the nail through her head, I think, because he's attached to the tree with whatever that tool
When you
is
say you
through
think
his
he has
eye.
the ghost has a connection, how do you mean that?
I don't mean I don't know that they're actually, he's her ancestor. I don't think it's like, it could be, but there's something replaying here, right? We're seeing some common themes, and that's something that comes up with Tabitha and Henry. Like, we're replaying certain roles, and certain roles are coming back, like Tabitha and Victor's mom are like playing the same role in a different group. And I feel like the being attached to the tree with a metal object is now coming back again. And so Jade's seeing that.
I agree. And I also think that that's a callback to the Beatuk belief system, where if you betray your people, then they revisit, then your spirit is sacrificed to them.
Just a little note. Michelle did a very awesome deep dive in our episode 1 coverage of season 3 on the Beatuk.
I did. I think it's also worth mentioning that the nails were an item that were highly prized by the Beatuk, and also that they were famous for using red paint.
Which Jade sees on the rocks before he sees this ghost of Christmas past, whoever this,
it's hard
this guy is.
With that theory, it's hard to not think that there was some sort of issue between indigenous people and colonial type people.
That's been well established.
Yes, but I'm saying right there where we see, like, yes, I understand it's paint, but I also think it's blood. It feels like that would have been a sacrificial area.
It was a very gruesome time.
Well, they weren't, there's no evidence that they engaged in ritual sacrifice.
Yes, this is where I'm diverting from reality into
Fromville.
logic.
But it is interesting to me that some people can see ghosts and other people can't. And
quick roundup: who can see ghosts? Jade can see ghosts. If you see the boy in white, do you see ghosts? Does that count as seeing ghosts?
So Ethan and Tabitha.
Yep.
Victor, I guess, because can't he see the boy in white?
Yeah.
I thought, didn't he say he stopped?
Oh, he did.
He stopped. He used.
It sounded like a Peter Pan, like he aged out of it type of thing.
Yeah.
Sarah can hear them. I don't know if that's the same.
Elgin, even though he's only seen one ghost,
and it's only in dreams, right? So far,
I think he can see ghosts.
I think so.
Yeah.
He's the only one who I would say has, to borrow something from The Shining here, but he's the only one who has like the sight, like I don't think anyone else is like plugged into that other level.
I think Tabitha might be.
Yeah, definitely. I think Tabitha.
Well, yeah, Tabitha is in.
Boyd can see ghosts.
Boyd can see ghosts, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's got special worm blood, so we don't even know what that's about.
No, we don't. And so let's see.
So Jade is like, I'm out of here. I'm done. I don't care what time it is. I don't care that it's almost sundown. I'm going back to town. Like, why am I even here?
Kenny's super fucking pissy at Jade. Can you?
Mom just died.
No. I understand, but his mother loved Jade. Like, so it wasn't like he was some asshole to Tien Chen.
I think that Kenny is very protective of Christy.
Oh, yeah.
And I think his perception was that Jade pushed her or something like that, or that this was somehow his fault, because she kept saying over and over again, it's not his fault. He didn't do this. In between, like, her moans of ecstasy.
Wait,
when her leg is caught in the bear trap.
I think we have a clip when she's trying to free herself. Wait, hold on. Let me just cue it up.
Christy, are you in pain or are you in pain?
Christy's always a little in pain.
Is this a bondage thing, Christy?
Do you? Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I mean, with that haircut and the double denim. She is, and the girlfriend that everyone knows about now is real, the fiance even. She's announced to the world she's not interested in having sex with men.
So
Just
why is
straight
she?
up. Does Kenny pick up on this? Because I feel like, is this just a love for a friend, or does he still like
No,
think there
I-
might
He's still
be,
in love with her.
I think they are in love with each other, and I think
but
if
not
it
in a sexual way.
weren't for no, I think in a sexual
She
way
was
too.
close to being with him until
I think she is bisexual.
what's her
I
name came
believe
into
that
town.
is canon. I think she actually did mention that because I don't think she.
Yeah,
Because
no,
before Marielle came back, she wasn't like, "Hey, I'm a lesbian."
That's her name. In my
Marielle.
head, she's Raggedy Ann.
She looks so strung out, and I'm wondering, why does she look more strung out for a longer period of time than anybody else there?
Yeah. Ugh, except Fatima.
Fatima's looking great. What are you talking about?
In between Christie's moans and groans out of pain or pleasure, whatever you want to call it, they can't get this bear claw offer. So
It's not a bear claw; it's a bear trap.
bear.
They can't
They
get
want
the
to.
donut
They're
off
looking.
of
Give me
her.
a bear claw. I'm so hungry out here.
I want donuts.
Right,
I
so
want a
much
bear
better
claw.
than the cabbage option they've got going on.
It is hard when we watch this cabbage stuff here because despite Los Angeles being such a mecca of health, you'd be surprised, but you cannot throw a stone without hitting a donut shop or a burger place.
It's true. We're really well known for it here.
I could be in Fromville.
I know, and it's really good. I seriously, there are some, I was very lucky to live in London for 15 years, and there was some fantastic food there, but basic stuff like cake and donuts, and especially being gluten-free, like they don't really have the same understanding that they do here. LA is all about your food allergies.
Gluten free? Is that a woman's disorder?
Every donut shop has gluten-free options.
Yeah.
It's been exciting.
But not a bear claw, a bear trap.
A bear trap,
So-
and as they're trying to open this, they can't.
Dislodge.
They're trying to dislodge it. They grab sticks, which are definitely not going to work, branches. Then we get, look, Jade did not have a choice here to save Christy, but this is going to come back. This is like Chekhov's rusty metal wand or something, because we have Jade smartly grabbing a couple of these metal pieces that are propping up the.
Now, just before you go any
talisman
further, some
Yes, ma'am.
people on Reddit have suggested that these were in the shape of one of those symbols. My view is if you're seeing that shape everywhere, you're gonna, if that's what you're looking for, you're gonna find it everywhere. I don't
Absolutely.
think that it was intentionally put in the shape of this. I think this is a completely different part of facet, if you like, of this
Protection.
It's almost like, Disney World has like,
the little
what is
kid
it, like
area and
Tomorrowland
yes.
and all these different, I don't know, like worlds, villages,
Yes.
Disney villages,
Yes,
right?
villages.
Or is that where you stay? I don't know. Anyway,
We get it.
I think Fromville is the same. I don't think you're dealing with the same Greeple in every sector. I think you've got, different, and we've been shown this, like the dog, you never see the dog in town, right?
Yeah.
You never
Yes.
see the German Shepherds in town. You don't, like the forest is its own thing. This little village with the cabins is its own thing. The town is its own thing. I just think,
And I still want a map. I don't think we've ever gotten a map because I don't know, is it located within the same place? Is it on the same realm? Like
Michelle, when you're saying that, and Diane also, when you guys are thinking about these places being separated, what happens when you're crossing over, though, from one area into the next? Does anything happen? Do you feel anything? Or is it just like hitting a new part of the map?
Well, it's interesting that the forest moves or seems to be moving. The trees are moving.
Well, good point. And there is some mention like we've never seen these old cabins before in all the time we've been
Right,
here.
exactly.
or these statues that are there clearly guarding something.
Well, I thought
or
as a more important than if they were in the shape of the symbol, which neither you or I necessarily agreed with. Michelle, you had a good point with when Jade takes the rods out. You were like, "That's not great," because the thing falls. What does it fall forwards or
Falls
backwards.
falls backwards, which
Yeah.
kind of made it seem like it was collapsing in on itself, as opposed to maybe falling forward would have been less
So
worrying.
I didn't live anywhere near Burkittsville, Maryland, which people old enough will remember the Blair Witch Project and all this. That's where they filmed it. But
I'm old enough.
I grew up in a very beautiful, picturesque suburb, and you could not go into the woods anywhere in like the tri-state area, Maryland, Virginia, like nowhere without seeing 1,000,001 of those little statues, those little.
Wait, was this after the movie? People would
Yes.
just be
Yeah. People would just make them and leave them in there to be menacing. It wasn't fun. Now, I still wouldn't touch them.
Yeah. Why would you? Why
I
would you
would
wanna
never
touch it?
touch them, even though I know some teenagers or middle schoolers even made them, put them there, hung them around.
I feel
for
like you
people to
could have
find.
been holding a newspaper of like, "Hey, right here is where the 6th grade class put a thing." And be like,
Yes.
"That is not true," and it's making
there
it
now.
up, and it's
Yeah.
there.
I guess to save someone's life, I would do what needed to be done, but I wouldn't feel good about it. Like, I would apologize to it. I
Oh,
would
no, if
find
you-
another anchor for
if
it.
you
get
had
some
to-
sage or something.
If Michelle
Yeah.
had to grab one of these things, I know her well enough that if someone was in danger, she would grab this thing and save them with it.
Delicately.
But no, she'd smash it, be fine in the moment, but afterwards be like, "All right, I'm done. I'm marked. That's
My
that's
life
it.
is now
I
over.
I would go back and I'd try to
Put it back together."
sort it out. Yeah, because
You'd be like Sarah putting the snowman ceramic back together.
oh,
That was so
that
sad.
made me so sad.
Well, it's sad except for the fact that Sarah.
But
So wait, is this the one time that we all agree with Dale? Like, should mess with that thing? That's the only thing.
Yes,
only
but-
thing Dale says that we
Okay,
agree with
but
is like maybe we
here's
shouldn't mess with the statue.
I agree with you, and Dale is sort of right, but it seems like Dale's other view is like, I don't know, why don't we leave that bitch tied to that thing and just see what happens? I'm sure she'll be okay. Let's go in the cabins. Like, what else were they going to get?
Yeah, they really didn't have.
There
much
was
of a
no other
choice.
option.
But so what I think.
know. Like I said, I would have put it back afterwards.
Oh, I see what your point is. Like, well, you should at least go back and fix it up. Like,
Yeah.
don't leave it fucked up, Jade.
I mean, safety first, and then superstition.
I will
second.
just say we have Jade at everyone's at a kind of fucked up level of intolerance, and now we have Christy almost dying, and I'm a little bit confused because we're not dealing with a real place in terms of like, how long is Twilight, and do the monsters just come out like as soon as the sun sets? Or
Well, it's
they
also,
just
is
out?
it winter? Is it like real winter where
No,
sun
probably
sets
not.
earlier now that they have snow, or is it like summer rules still?
It's
with
Nova
the time?
Scotia rules.
What-
I mean, then I imagine
Yeah.
that far north, the
Well,
sun
yes, if-
probably like 3:30 it gets dark.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's funny how we don't really get a sense of the passage of time.
Well, it's just there's a little bit of double talk too, where they're like, "Jade, you got to come back here. You can't make it back to town." And then he starts walking off, and they're like, "If he runs, he can make it." And it's like,
well, I think
which
it was
one
just
is
like,
it?
well, nobody wanted to follow him except for Christy, and look what happened to her.
Do you think that's an interesting point? Was that at all the locale? Was it grabbing Christy intentionally? Was it trying to keep them by the cabins, or do you think this was just a simple injury?
No, I think that it's probably people trapped in winter there to survive. Somebody left something there. I try not to think too hard
That
about
everything is a setup.
Yeah, because there are going to be there's some normal human behavior that happens in this place. I mean, I don't know, but maybe it is, some people have suggested this is some version of Westworld, right? Where like
Oh,
Maybe
right.
there's some
Right.
rich people who are on vacation and whatever, but like
This
I
is
don't
fun.
know.
That's
I don't
kinda
really see
boring.
that. That would
No.
I
annoy
don't
me.
know. I wouldn't like that so
That's
much.
super
I
boring.
hope
That's
it's
someone
not
else's
that.
idea. I don't think these guys
Yeah.
would do that.
But so the last thing that happens is when they're getting
When they're trying to
Christy
set
out,
Christy's ankle.
Jade, while they're trying to set her ankle, Jade sees that same colonial
No longer
trapper
stuck
guy.
to a tree with his eye.
Yeah, and I don't know where I heard this. Probably some theory, either Reddit or on a YouTube, but that the reason he saw him there drinking the blood out of the skull, not attached to the tree, had something to do with the fact that he had taken a piece out of the
Huh.
statues, and I wondered if that had any merit to it.
This seemed like an invitation, though, almost.
I like that.
I like that
Let's-
too.
Yeah.
I feel like this almost felt like an invitation from whatever ghost this was, though, because I didn't take it as, oh, Jade, I'm a ghost. I'm coming at you. Look at this scary bowl of skull blood.
I think
I'm
it's
drinking.
a warning.
You think it's a warning?
Yeah.
More than an invitation.
I don't think it is an invitation. I mean, I think
Okay, I see what you're saying.
90% of the time, it's like how I don't think the kimono lady is malign in her intent. I think she was trying to save him. I don't think that there are, apart from the monsters, I don't think that there are like
Malintentions.
yeah, I think that
Like the children, the
All
boy
these
in white,
creepy things. You
all the
don't think-
ghost type
well,
figures.
if you go through, if you go according to the theory that there's an accused witch on one side and the devil on the other, right? That theory is kind of breaking apart for me because I don't mean to leapfrog too much here, but for the first time when we have Boyd and Father Kotry says, "Oh, I don't know." Father Kotry asks him what he's doing, right? And to me, that's like, okay, now we have firm evidence that these are two separate
that it's not just
entities.
Boyd's imagination.
Yeah, exactly. Because if he had insight into Boyd's thoughts and feelings, he wouldn't say, "What are you doing? What are you building?" Right?
Yeah, that's true.
So I don't know. I think if we go by, there's the witch side and the devil side, then you can say, yeah, okay, some like Boyd's wife, ex-wife is
dead wife, whatever.
Yeah, technically ex-wife. She's obviously in league with the devil, and the witch has maybe other people who are more helpful, and we don't know which side the boy in white is on. But like I said, that theory is kind of falling apart for me a little bit because there's less ambiguity about and more clarity about what the spirits want.
Ooh, that just brought more questions, fewer answers. So thank you.
Well, and it kind of brings us to the next bringing more questions and less answers portion of the show, which is over in
fewer
Colony
answers.
What did I say?
Less.
Thank you.
Get you a
grammar
man who knows
warriors,
both.
I'm silently correcting your grammar,
says the teacher. Over at Colony House, Fatima continues to eat garbage. Is this now? I've seen some theories here that like pregnant women always love fermented food. Okay, I agree. I don't know that this counts as fermented food.
Well, I think that's what they're playing with, right? They're giving us like the kind of, it could just be that she's pregnant or it could be something else.
Yeah. And it may well be, but like, I don't know. I think everyone's right about this. I think maybe she's not having a baby.
Yeah.
Maybe it's something more sinister.
It's a rotten cabbage.
She's having a rotten cabbage.
I mean,
baby.
it could be a what do you call it? Not a hysterical pregnancy. What are they called? Like Queen Mary had loads of them. Thank you, Jack. It's when you think you're pregnant.
That
and
is a
even
hysterical pregnancy.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
When you think you're pregnant, but you're not really.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what that is.
Okay.
No, you're right.
So Tilly,
could be.
yeah, Tilly can't mind her own business for even 1 second, and I get it.
Yeah,
Is
but
she
hold-
Jewish? Is she a Jewish grandma? Because we've all had those experiences. Honey, I've had the same thing. I used to lick the eggshell doll face.
It's really, though, I mean, she's obviously creepy. She's obviously like up to no good. I don't know. I mean, unless you just haven't seen these types of shows before, you might be taken in by this kind old woman, but she's bringing up a lot of sinister things. She's kind of explaining away a lot of things like, oh, you're shoving rotten garbage into your face and you can't eat anything else. You're fine. I used to eat garbage eggshells.
Recommendation for our listeners, and it depends on how hard you want to geek out on this, but Clarissa Pinkola Estes, Dr. Clarissa Pinkola Estes, who wrote Women Who Run with Wolves, about the, our shared mythology. She's Hungarian and Mexican and has this really interesting background, and she's studied myths, and she's really cool. And she does a series of lectures called like The Wise Old Woman or something, and she talks about the role of old women historically and mythologically. And what's common in folk tales is that old women are always bringers of wisdom, and sometimes it's wisdom that you want and sometimes it's wisdom that you don't want. And so I was really I've been really intrigued by Tilly, and I kind of like her. I don't think she's harmless at all.
Yeah.
Oh, I love the character.
I think she's great. And I do buy into maybe she has something to do with the children, because there's numbers that
7
repeat
children.
Yes, exactly.
4 children, 7 grandchildren.
But I think I think this is one of those mystical forces where, like, we're supposed to think that the crow is bad. There's crows circling the tree in the beginning.
And
crows
also,
are generally bad omens.
what do you call a group of crows?
A
murder.
deer.
Exactly.
But Elgin has crows on all his shirts. He's
that's right.
really,
Or are they raven? Is there a difference between ravens and crows?
there is. Ravens are
Yes.
bigger.
Yes.
Okay.
But it's still interesting. I would have interpreted the tarot reading as sinister rather than the bird trying to stop it. I think the bird
tried to stop something that was bad from happening.
And I think the birds are there over the tree to be like, hey, this is bad.
Stop.
Yeah.
Stop it.
So
don't
I
let her
agree.
read your cards.
No, I agree, because there were a lot of takes of like, oh, the birds are coming because of the tarot. And no. The birds are to protect from the tarot.
Yes.
Yes.
Correct.
Well, so yeah, that crow flew in, and that crow did not want to wait. That crow is in. And the tarot cards, we don't get to see them, right? Very intentionally, we don't get to see them, except if you pause it and zoom in, you see one card, the bottom card, before she flips the 4 over, and it's showing Tilly holding the Queen of Wands, which leads us to a segment.
We're going to do a segment before we wrap up the main portion of the episode. In this segment, we thought it might be fun, because the show's going in this direction. We wanted to scribe a tarot card to some of the characters.
There was one thing I wanted to look up.
Okay. So we were trying to think about, Michelle does tarot. If anyone wants a reading,
You
she's
click on our link tree, you can set up a reading with Michelle. She is excellent, does them live and in person over Zoom, not a pre-recorded like a lot of others.
Yeah. And Jack and I fiddle around with tarot cards and oracle cards for fun, because we live in LA. What else?
Yeah.
We have to. It's part of, if you've been here 10
When you
years,
sign
you
a
are
lease-
forced to.
When
yeah.
you sign a lease, you have to open a membership at the Crystal
So
Show.
we were trying to kind of match some of the characters with what tarot card we think they might represent. And so a couple of them.
And again, Redditor and author Taryn Matheru has mapped out his understanding. So
Fascinating view, Taryn, over there on YouTube.
Yeah. This is mine, and I'm still kind of fleshing them out. There are unfortunately, I can't remember which tarot card has a cat on it.
That's the Queen of Wands. I
Is
know
it?
she has the black cat who she's like not afraid to have the black cat.
No,
sit
but there's
with
more.
her.
I just because Jade wears a shirt with cats on it.
He seems like the moon. Lots and lots of questions.
But the moon is dogs.
Yeah, a dog and a fox or whatever.
Well, we have some obvious ones, like, you know, we've labeled Victor as the hermit for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
Oh, you second guessing
I
this
actually said Victor as the hermit. I don't know if Michelle agreed with that one.
No, I don't think it's that simple. I don't think everyone
No,
is
there's
a
not a
perfectly
1-to-1.
neat
Yes.
archetype, because the tarot is all about archetypes. I do like the Fool for Boyd because we see him with dogs all the time.
Holding out hope.
Yep.
He's
on a
never
journey.
hopeless.
Yeah.
Because contrary to popular belief and symbolism, the Fool isn't necessarily foolish or naive. It's someone who is able to approach a situation or a journey with fresh eyes and see things. And I think
And take a leap of faith, I think,
yes,
right?
exactly. And I think he's really brave in that way. I think that's why we like him so much, because does he make all the right decisions? No. But he is a leader.
Yes. And he's willing to take the hit, though, if he makes a wrong call.
Right. And it's interesting that what did they call him? Loaves and fishes or something?
Yeah.
So there's that too. Yeah, Ethan being the magician, because the magician has a lot to do with learning,
Yes.
and also being able to be a threshold guardian. So working in that veil between two worlds.
Yeah, in and out of all elements,
Yeah.
right?
I'd have to think about it a lot more, but I'm happy to keep people.
Yeah, I thought
would
we'd
like to
start with
think
a
about
few
it.
and we can add a few each episode.
Yeah, because I was just thinking, you know, there's like the cards like Temperance and stuff like that I would be curious, like, who's that? And we're not going to figure that out this second, but I think we'll come back with
Probably Tian Chen was Temperance.
So now is
ooh.
everything off balance at this point with the loss of Tian Chen?
Right, or somebody taking that role. It sort of seemed like the bus driver. I can't remember her name.
I don't trust her, and I don't know
Bacta.
why. I will say, and this is just a little, I really try not to do this, but as we've talked about, Michelle and I, and Diana for that matter, have all worked in TV and film and all of that. It was really hard for me not to see that the scene in the diner with Boyd, Bacta, and Ethan was absolutely shot before everything else. Boyd's hair is older. He still has whatever was going on with the left side of his mouth on the first episode. So I don't know if that was just kind of like an early scene, so it didn't have as much feeling for me, or if they wanted me to pick up a lack of feeling, because she's very flat. I didn't find she wasn't warm in the way that Tian Chen was with Ethan. Bacta seems like she's there because, like, well, there's a function that needs to be
I don't know.
filled.
She hasn't made much of an impression
No,
on me,
not
but I
yet.
think that's bad writing, to be honest.
That's what
with
I'm
you.
at. Yeah, I think that was just a bit of a little slide there.
I think that it's unfortunately this is a deficit that was in Lost as well. Like they get bored of a character, they just move on to another one,
Then
and that
bring it
character
back
becomes
and-
Muty the mailman. You know, it's like
Muty the mailman.
it is.
Office references only. folks.
Yeah.
I want to, because we're going to move on, but I would like to talk to you listeners. And if you would like to send us in your thoughts, doesn't have to be the whole tarot deck, but if you have any thoughts or any responses to our feelings as to what cards match which characters, please let us know. We'd love to hear your thoughts and read them on the air.
I'm really excited about and I'm going to hyperfixate on this one issue because we started talking about this when we were watching the show, but we
getting
didn't
to the
really get
song?
into it. Yeah.
Okay, wait, not yet.
Okay. Well, so we're talking about Tabitha and Henry.
I just
being
want to
in-
set up. Yeah.
Right. Tabitha is not sleeping, right? She discovers, Henry, they discover that the bottle tree is something that exists in the real world because Victor's mom.
Henry goes to show her the bottle tree outside, but it's not the bottle tree with a doorway in it. They get in the car and they start driving, and a song comes on, which really hit Michelle.
Right. Blue by Joni Mitchell is playing, and Henry says, "Ooh, small world."
Yeah. I'm a little annoyed because this is so I get that like Miranda loved this song. That makes a lot of sense. It was very timely when it came out. But this song is not for lovers. Like this is not the first dance at your wedding. It's a song about but it does fit the show. It is a song about falling into the same patterns, how difficult it is to leave, somebody who really gets their hooks in you. It's also about, it's very specific to this time in her life, when there was the Vietnam War and things like that, and people just, the flower child generation losing their innocence, right?
Everybody kind of turning into ether and vapor over time.
No, people leaning into drugs and
acid, booze, and
Yes.
ass,
Ether and
needles,
vapor.
guns, and grass. Just like those are the lyrics in the song.
Yes, no, I meant, I
but
meant
you
drugs.
know
I meant
that
drug infused.
that whole generation, it was a pointless war that, as my father, when I think he was paraphrasing John Kerry when he said it was he didn't want to be, the last man to die for a cause that nobody believed in. And we had our own version of that in our generation, but it didn't have the same effect because there was no draft and it wasn't,
right.
But it's a very affecting song. It's a beautiful song, but it's not.
It ain't a love song.
It's not a love song. It is, but it's like.
It's a pained love song.
Yes, exactly.
This is not like, this is not, I don't know, this is not your Wild
not
Horses
At Last.
or At Last
Yeah.
or anything like that. This is just.
So you're annoyed
pain.
with the choosing of the song because you don't think it would have been Tabitha and
I
Jim's
don't-
song as a couple.
No, but Michelle, if this comes back and, we learn something about the relationship was a little bit fraught and couldn't it make more sense in that way? If we find out
but,
anything else?
Maybe her nickname for him was Blue, and then they were like, "Oh, there's a song called Blue."
Yeah, but then go with Blue Velvet.
Just spitballing.
I just think it's weird. I don't know. Are you like, hey, Diana, this is a song for if we ever get divorced? Like, is that?
Should I stop doing that? Is that not funny?
We do have a divorce song, don't we? No, just kidding. No.
No, I mean, in fairness, your actual song in real life is also a pained love song. For many people, it's the saddest song they've ever heard.
It
Which
is
is,
the
I
Rolling
think-
Stones' Wild Horses.
Well, which I love a sad, heartbreaking song for a love story. I don't know. I think there's some beauty in that. So maybe that's because maybe it's a
but were you
similar idea.
predicting? Like, were you
marital strife in the future?
I don't know. I'm just saying.
Maybe we should have.
I will tell you that I think it depends because I think some songs are specifically from that relationship, but I think depending on when you get together, if you have a lot of growth and aging in your relationship, some of those songs hold. I mean, if you get together when you're 20 and then it's 20 years later, you might take a quote sad love song and feel it a little differently.
My parents' song was "If I Fell" by the Beatles.
Oh, that's a good one.
Well, so the whole purpose of this
I was
is
going to initially do "Would I Lie to You" by Charles and Eddie. Everybody listen to that song, 1991 single of the year.
Please don't.
Go
Oh,
ahead,
boy.
Diana.
I was to say the whole purpose of the song is it's the first thing Tabitha notices, like, oh, that's weird. Like that's a
that-
similarity. And
you
then
see it on her face.
And then the next thing is she opens the glove box and the same bracelet that she made for Jim that she found when they were in the diner where all the like old memory, ornaments are.
I have a theory about that.
Let's hear it.
And this is very reductive, but
Theory
I feel
crafting
like
corner.
I feel like sometimes this particular group of writers, sometimes they're very subtle, other times they want to smack you over the head, right? I have no idea why they chose that song, but the bracelet thing
really fun.
is so real to me. It's like it's a reminder that we're doing this over and over and over and over again.
Go
And
deeper on that. How do you mean that?
I mean, she found the bracelet at a time when they were almost irrevocably torn apart,
Yes,
right?
Yes.
Like after the house, was it before or after
I think
the
it was
house
before
collapsed?
the house collapsed.
It was
because
it
was
before the house
yeah.
collapsed.
Well,
They were on the brink of divorce.
Yes.
Yes.
But it's a reminder, it's a circle, right? And it
Mhm.
goes on your wrists.
And the beads go around and around
yes,
and
it
around.
reminds me of the devil card in the tarot because there's, the devil's holding, there's two people chained, a man and a woman, but the chain is around their necks and their hands are free. And that's deliberate because that card is partly about making choices. But when it's reversed, that card is about addiction and it's about what we repeat and the cycles that we fall victim to, which is what blue is about. Right?
So it's really playing into the two things are playing into each other.
Yes. So I'm noticing that the bracelet appeared at two kind of forks in the road, if you like, of like, okay, am I going to choose to fight for him? Or am I going to choose to break away from that and not buy into it? So I think this is an interesting test because they seem to fall apart. They seem to fracture and repair quite a bit.
Yeah.
And I've never known it takes a very strong couple to survive the death of a child. It rarely ever happens. Like you see
and it wasn't going to happen for them.
Right.
Until
and it wasn't going to happen.
Catastrophic event of Fromville.
But I think for whatever reason, she has some power in this realm. She's characterizing it as a punishment but I don't think that's what it is. I think it's meant to show her the power and the agency that she does have.
Ooh.
And I think in a weird way, it's speaking to these motifs that are put on women repeatedly again and again. It's this, well, do you want to be a mother or do you want to save yourself? Do you want to have a marriage or do you want to have a relationship with your kids? Do you want to,
you can have it all though, Michelle.
Oh, yeah.
No, sleep an hour a night.
That was a lie that someone told our mothers. And we're waking up to the fact now that married women die sooner than women who don't get married.
But married men live longer than
Yes,
single
they
men
do.
being taken care of by their loving, devoting,
Well, I guess
doting
I'm going to
wives.
be
They're giving
186.
wives.
I'm going to be 186 years old. So this leads to Tabitha really getting real anxious in the car. She's going to just basically freak out at Henry and be like, okay, I'm a fucking idiot. This is so dumb. Why did I think this all made sense? Of course it's all so perfect and so tied up with a bow. And of course we're going to the bottle tree. Of course, it's a fucking simulation, you fucking liar. And Henry's like,
You're a fucking liar, Camille.
And Henry's like, what are you talking about? What is happening? I'm telling you, the tree, it's right here. We're driving.
But it is weird that
no, this is
this man is on jack time because they were 20 minutes away.
Yeah, how
40
long
minutes
is this
ago.
taking?
Well, I don't know. Is he going about 12 miles per hour in that car? But which also that the guy has not touched the house since his family disappeared.
Except for the sink. The sink is modern.
The sink's modern, but he hasn't really touched his house. But you can bet that 83 Buick LeSabre is just purring like a cat.
That
No
thing
problem.
was so beat up.
Spends his time in the garage,
So then, of course, as soon as Tabitha tries to get out of the car, he says no. He really jams his foot on the gas, and of course, they get what do you call it? T-boned by seems like a pickup truck, and then they wake up in a hospital,
Well,
in an ambulance.
To be fair, she wakes up. He's not doing so well.
Did you like that? Oh my God, how's he doing? He's not doing so well, but he's hanging in there.
His head's in a, completely wrapped around, and yeah. But
Now,
so the tree is in the road.
Yes,
folks.
we get from the driver that the tree's in the road. Tabitha's like, motherfucker, of course the tree's in the road. Now, I just want to play a little, Michelle, you're shaking your head.
No,
Okay.
I'm sorry. That's my leg. We've gone over an hour, so like
I know we have a bunch of stuff we have to cut out.
Okay.
But so basically my question is, okay, so did whatever the darkness is that's holding them, did Tabitha get too close to figuring out things? And is she right that she was never in the real Camden and she's now being brought back? Was it the real Camden, but she's also now being brought back from whatever force makes the tree appear? And third, is Henry involved, or is he a bystander? And same with the EMTs.
Well, I wonder if this isn't a kind of I don't know if there's a massive overlap between this audience and the audience that would watch Schmigadoon, but this is like the easiest one that I can reach for. But there's a couple that goes into this,
Fantasy.
musical world.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And the bridge that they walked into it on disappears, or, they can't get out that way. And the only way that they can get out is by learning whatever lesson they're supposed to learn, right? So I have a feeling that this is kind of a fake trap.
Absolutely.
Where like everyone can leave,
but they have to
figure out to learn
how.
You have to know. Yes, you can leave when you figure out what you need to do, but we're not going to tell you what you need to do.
Yeah.
I agree. I think I do like her sort of like Matrix idea here of like this is just another level of whatever the game is here, because she's right. Like this is all too perfect. It all makes way too much sense. And I think what I kind of was moving on to, I do think that there is some element of reality in the sense that I do think this ambulance is from Camden, Maine, because we do see it's being sucked into Fromville, and we don't like to go too far into next time ons, but we do see. I'm gonna call it right now. This is just my theory here. I think both of the male EMTs are going to succumb very quickly, and I think that we have an outside shot of this lady EMT surviving. And
Henry long enough to meet Victor.
I think Henry is going to be fairly injured. He's going to get to say hello to Victor, and I think we're going to get another sad scene coming
or is he going to be like in a coma and Victor can see him and be like, wondering, is it really his dad?
Well, they look the same age.
No, yeah, well, but is it
is Victor a hard 52, or is his dad like a real smooth 75?
I don't know. I guess we'll find out.
Yes.
Yeah, I like that answer. Let's get some chicken farm.
Yeah.
Chicken farm time. We're going for some dinner. We're not eating rotten cabbage. Thank you so much for joining us again.
Don't forget, we want to hear from you.
Please.
apngpod@gmail.com. Come at us on Instagram @apngpodcast. Hit us up on Facebook.
In Facebook, you could join our Facebook group, All Pleasure, No Guilt. You can join our Facebook group where we would love to interface and chat with you about this show and anything else you want to talk about.
Thanks, everyone.
We love
you.
That's it.